And it's one thing to get an award from the chief of police, and that's great. But when the business community, when the greater Gwinnett community comes out to recognize these professionals, that includes law enforcement officers, that includes our 911 operators, and in some cases, professional staff members, it means the world to them.
Well, Chief McClure, what an honor for you, sir, it's your honor to be here.
It really is.
What an honor it is for you to be with us today here on our podcast. We're really excited to have you. I totally respect the work that you do. You've got an outstanding department. I believe the #1 county police department in the United States is Gwinnett County Police.
There you go.
And you're
I
doing
wholeheartedly agree.
Okay, great, perfect.
Right?
If we didn't agree on that, there'd be a problem.
No, thank you.
And Chief, you're doing a great job.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm honored to lead the department. I think this August will be my 5th year.
Okay.
So it's been kind of a blur because we stay super busy. But again, I'm honored to lead the organization and just thankful, most importantly, to the men and women who are out there doing the job every day, in and out. So thank you.
We just completed the Valor Awards last week, which was really exciting. We're going to talk about that a little later. But want to talk about your background, the department. And so I understand you've been policing outside of military police. You've been policing your entire career in Georgia.
Yeah, that's correct, Nick. So I wanted to be a police officer at an early age. I was probably 14 or 15 when I decided to do that. And my parents always teased me because as a young kid, I was probably the most afraid of police officers. But yeah, it's been something that I've always wanted to do. And so my first job in law enforcement was in 1994. I started at the Bartow County Sheriff's Department up in Cartersville. Had a great experience there, but certainly wanted to branch out and take on a bigger challenge. And I found a home at Gwinnett County Police.
So you've been at Gwinnett Police for how long?
So this is my 30th year, right? So I've been with the county 31 total years. That included a real brief stint at the Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office. So again, I have a lot of respect for those folks there, the deputies.
Yeah, that's
there.
a tough job.
It really is. So I've always had a great respect for the sheriff's departments throughout the state.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because we're in a big urban county. Our sheriff department is maybe different than a rural county. Where you see a sheriff out policing and patrolling. I'm saying policing, I mean patrolling.
Right.
Here, they're responsible for the jail, the judges, and warrants.
So you'll find a combination here in the metro Atlanta area, full service, and then sheriff's departments that don't perform that function. So Forsyth County would be a prime example of a group that performs a patrol function, but then they also perform what the primary duties of the sheriffs are, as you said, the jails, the courts, and then serving papers.
Right, and that's an important function. Like at the state, it's a constitutional officer, the sheriff, and so because of our size, we have both a full service police department and the traditional constitutional duties of the sheriff's office.
That's correct, and like you said, we need each other. We need to all focus on our missions. We can't be successful without the sheriff's department, and they can't do their jobs obviously without us performing the services that we do.
It's really interesting to me between the sheriff's office, the fire department, the police department. It seems like it's a really good group of folks. I have never, in my 31 years, actually, interestingly enough, 31 years in Gwinnett, never seen anything other than people getting along.
Yeah, and it's
and
genuine.
Working together.
Yeah, so the relationship with public safety here in Gwinnett County is a very particular thing. We're a jurisdiction where you won't find a lot of negativity between agencies. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of struggles between us to get along. And again, we have a great relationship with all our city police agencies, the sheriff's department, even corrections. This is unique in Gwinnett County. And as you said, Nick, from your time as mayor and just looking around the state of Georgia, that doesn't always happen. There's a lot of counties where those law enforcement agencies are constantly at each other's throat. And again, we just won't have it.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. It's interesting. I remember going to a Georgia Municipal Association meeting, and I'm in this room with 25, 30 elected officials, and there's counties where the sheriff doesn't talk to the county chair, and they don't talk to the school board. And it's like, are you silly? There's only 25,000 people in your county. I mean, for goodness sake, get along. You're probably all going to church together, shopping in the same grocery store together.
And it's culture. And the relationship that we have here, the synergy that we have, our residents are the ones who benefit, right? I think when you start having those massive problems, you can't get along, you can't get on one accord, the residents suffer. And like I said, we're fortunate to have a culture here, not only within Gwinnett County government, but certainly that includes all our city agencies. Once a month, the Gwinnett County Chiefs of Police Association, our president currently right now is Suwannee Police Chief Cass Mooney. We'll meet once a month. We'll talk about issues affecting law enforcement. State law is a prime example. We'll share information about how these laws are impacting our particular agencies. And so, again, the ultimate benefactor is the residents here in Gwinnett.
I agree. And by the way, Cass Mooney, what a great guy. I've known him for probably 28 years. He's literally has not aged.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, every time my wife sees him, she says, how does Cass Mooney not age? What is he doing? He's living a good life.
He is.
And he's doing a great job. And Chief Jones was doing a great job before him. And
just a good department. I have a lot of respect for him. Again, all the chiefs here in Gwinnett, this brings me to having lost an officer in the line of duty recently. As you guys know, we lost Officer Pradeep Tamang, batch 2741. Officer David Reed suffered serious injuries, but the support that we got from Gwinnett County residents, the support that we got from our local police departments was unbelievable. So I just want to take this opportunity to publicly thank the community, our business community, thank all our stakeholders, and certainly the local law enforcement agencies here that helped us through.
Well, thank you for saying that. I know we did a brief moment of silence for both of them, and very encouraging with the recovery of the other officer. And I know next year that'll be a major focus at our Valor Awards to honor both of them and their family. Of course, absolutely. Thank you for saying something. Well, I did, before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about the Valor Awards, but also, I appreciate your service, and maybe not most people don't know, is that you served at the U.S. Marine Corps.
That's right.
And so I understand you did your basic at Parris Island, and that was always a very positive, pleasant experience, right? It's not humid.
No
just
sand,
really
please.
Right.
So the Marine Corps really is foundational to who I am as a leader. My parents did an amazing job just instilling those values and discipline in me, and I like to say the Marine Corps just really sharpened that iron a little bit.
And then you were transferred to Pendleton in California?
Yes, so I was at Camp Pendleton. I was in Field Artillery, and just had a wonderful time out there. And but at my core, I always wanted to be a police officer. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, I felt like going to the Marine Corps would only help me be a better police officer.
My oldest brother, as he reminds me, I used to say he was a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine.
That's
He's
right.
a retired Marine.
Okay.
And he was an MP as well. And he was in, I think, for 3 or 4 years. I don't remember. There's a 12-year age difference.
Okay.
So when I was 5, my 18-year-old brother went into the Marines. And it was the coolest thing in the world. Because when you're 5, you're so impressionable, and your older brother's a Marine. I just thought it was cool. Yeah. Basically, I would tell people my brother's G.I. Joe.
Yeah,
and I literally, he brought me, he gave me, I'm really dating myself, but we would have, some people would call them dolls. I'd call them action figures. But I had those G.I. Joe action figures this big.
That's right.
And I would pretend it was my brother. And it had an M16, Vietnam era. It was so cool.
Yeah, I had a cousin who was actually in the Marine Corps, and he'd come home one time, much like your brother, and I'm rummaging through his sea bags, and I think that's probably why I got the itch. But for me, it's foundational and one of the best decisions I ever made.
Obviously, we've already identified we've got an incredible culture here of public safety, and that goes to 911, that goes to EMS. It's really incredible, but. We're the Chamber of Commerce, and so I want to talk a little bit about the business of policing and the community policing, which goes to business and to citizens. Mm-hmm. And so, just a little bit about where do you feel the police department, the business community, how do we interact? What strikes you when you talk about the police department and the business community?
Yeah. So the charge that we have from the Board of Commissioners is very, very clear, is that we are to provide for a safe, livable, and healthy community. Now, beneath that kind of umbrella are many, many tasks that we want to get completed, such as a collaboration between the police and mental health. But to me, it starts with us providing for a safe community. In fact, when I talk to our recruits, every single police graduating class, I tell them in a very affirmative way that we must and we will keep our community safe. So as we keep our community safe, it allows entities such as the Gwinnett Chamber to seek out and bring new businesses to Gwinnett. And so that's our charge. As long as we are focused on reducing crime, building positive community relations, and being professional, then we will improve the quality of life here in Gwinnett, and that's our goal. For us, it's not a cliche when we say that Gwinnett is the preferred community.
Would you say Gwinnett is great?
I believe that.
Do you think success lives here?
I really do believe that.
Me too.
And I remember the old water towers
Right.
that touted that. But again, we want to be the preferred community where everyone thrives, and that includes our businesses that are really kind of at the heartbeat of what we do in Gwinnett.
And it is what you all have done, and this is you stand on the shoulders of other people. So do I, for sure. But we have an incredibly safe place, and the reputation is so positive. And again, almost I think 31 years, never even heard a rumor of a negative thing in regards to the policing in Gwinnett. It's just been all such positive.
Well, I appreciate that, but I want our community to know that we take that serious. Every single precinct commander is given a directive, and they hear it directly from me, right? When I toss them the keys and say, hey, you're going to take over, let's say, West Precinct, for instance. It's reduce crime in your area and build positive community relations. And it really doesn't have to get much more complicated than that, right? You have the personnel, you have a strategic focus and strategic goals that we want you to go out and take care of, but also we want you to go out and connect with the community. And I think that's the difference with policing in Gwinnett is you can't forget about this connection with your community. I talk about Sir Robert Peel a lot of times when you hear me talk, right? So he, in the 19th century, was a politician in London who established what is known as the first organized police department in history. And he developed multiple principles, and I think there were 9 total, on how a police force would work. And so one of those principles says essentially that the community are the police and the police are the community. And he basically reminds us never to forget that. So the business community, our residents here, we don't think of ourselves as this entity that's out doing the job. We think of this as a community collaborative effort. We need our community to help us stay safe, right? So, but yeah, we're absolutely committed to safeguarding Gwinnett and continuing to make this a place where businesses want to come, and that residents want to be for shopping, all those things that they need, and it's our job to keep them safe.
And when you talk about you all do a wonderful job at everything you just mentioned. With community policing, people sometimes are afraid, like, oh, should I don't want to be a bother. I'm like, be a bother.
That's right.
But it's not a bother. The police department would rather know.
That's right.
You saw something, you hear something, just call. The reality is, if you don't and 4 other people call, okay, we've got an issue,
right?
And so I'm always a big fan of encouraging.
I love what you said, Nick, in terms of talk to those people, ask them. Never forget, this is your police department, and I tell our officers that this is your police department. I just get the privilege and the honor of leading it. But to your point, I always tell people, if you feel something is not right, then call us. Let us figure that out. Right?
Yes, you're the
pros.
pros.
Everybody simply dismisses it as it's probably nothing. Then that's where we miss.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Oh, there's a ton of studies where people should have called. I saw something, but I didn't know. And then you're
right.
investigating a crime, and 10 people saw something. So just call. I mean, that's just it's a bit of it's our duty as citizens to call, and it's not a bother.
That's right.
I try to always encourage
at
that.
all.
Well, Chief, I'm going to take a break and say, did you see these beautiful Capitol Restoration Voice of Business mugs?
I did. Very nice.
I know. We got these from Vox Pop Uli, our presenting sponsor. They're just fantastic. They
did a good job.
The water tastes better from a Vox Pop Uli mug.
Vox Pop Uli is a marketing production company that specializes in print, apparel, and specialty engraving. We help businesses communicate their brand across all of their channels. We provide print, apparel, and specialty engraving, so everything from vehicle wraps, banners, business cards, trade show displays, to your corporate apparel, uniforms, backpacks, anything that you want to put a logo on. You can contact us by phone, email, or visit us on the web at vox-pop-uli.com.
So the Valor Awards, 21st year, we did it right here at the Gas South District. It's literally, I've worked at the Chamber. I'm in my officially my 19th year. So I've already been here 19 years. I'm in, I guess, technically my 20th. And the Valor Awards, bar none, I couldn't even tell you what number 2 is. It is everyone's favorite program. It's. I always tell people bring some tissues. You never know what's going to hit people, and it's just a super cool award, a program, and of course always the life-saving ones.
Right.
You're like, you can't make this stuff up. It's incredible. I mean, each one of them seems like a movie, and you've lived these things. I haven't, but it's just a really cool program. Just wanted to get your reaction with the program.
Yeah. First, to your point, the Valor Awards is just exceptionally well done in terms of presentation, in terms of just recognizing the work of some fine law enforcement officers and our professional staff. I always tell people this: folks want to be recognized for their work, right? I do subscribe to Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the idea of self-esteem. And it's one thing to get an award from the chief of police, and that's great. But when the business community, when the greater Gwinnett community comes out to recognize these professionals, that includes law enforcement officers, that includes our 911 operators, and in some cases, professional staff members, it means the world to them to be recognized. And I always tell our folks, I'm a chief that's drawn to humble people, right? And I developed that because my parents had a cleaning business growing up. So I like to tell people, I was mopping floors and cleaning toilets, and I learned the work ethic and humility behind that. But I always tell them, on days that we have our in-house awards program or they come to the Valor Awards, it's the one day that they really need to dispense with humility and accept the adulation that they're getting, because quite frankly, you never know when you're going to get another one, right?
Right.
I
That's
like
a
to
good
tell
point.
people, as you're growing up, you're getting awards, but as you get a little bit older, maybe the bingo table is the only place you're going to get an award. But no, I can't thank the Chamber enough for sponsoring that event. It's good to see officers and professional staff from various departments rewarded for their hard work. And to your point, you never walk out of there feeling the same, right? I've been doing this 32 years, but every time I walk out of there, I feel even more eager to get back to work and get on with the business of keeping people safe.
Yeah, it's a cool event. The citizens love it, the businesses love it, and it's just special every year. We are so honored to be able to put it on.
Well, thank you all so much.
Yeah, absolutely, Chief. You might remember 2020. We had to delay the Valor Awards, and we delayed it by, I think, 2 months. It was supposed to happen in April, and we did it, I think, in June. And it was our first event since COVID. And instead of putting 10 people to a table, we did 4 people to a table. And everyone had to wear a mask unless when they were eating. And they had to sign in and get your mobile number in case somebody said they had COVID at the table, and we could contact trace them. And everyone had the cleaning stations were everywhere. And I think we did a good job. And by the way, no COVID spread. Well, this is interesting. And we didn't know this at the time, but that was the first public chamber event in the United States.
Wow.
Was the Gwinnett Valor Awards. And I think it was June. It could have been early July, but I think it was June. And we were getting a lot of heat. People were like, "Are you sure we should be meeting?" And the governor's order was over. It ended in early May, I think, maybe even late April. And we thought, hey, listen, we're going to lean into this. We're not canceling this event.
That's right.
And there's a lot of events we did cancel, but we're like, and this was also a tough time in America, if you remember.
Oh, absolutely.
June of 2020.
That's right.
And so we thought, we're not going to turn our back on our department. And we are so glad that we did that. And we didn't know if people were going to come protest against us. And we thought we're just going to lean in and do it. And people loved it. We got a tremendous amount of feedback.
And during that time, like you said, I mean, we're in the midst of COVID. We have anti-police sentiment across the country. So to me, that was a bold step to honor that commitment.
Yeah, and I always think actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely.
Because we're not running around doing public statements, but we just thought we were going to lean in. And I thought it was also interesting at the same time, I'd never heard one person, when I say one elected official, staff official, folks like county administrator, Glenn Stevens, never say we need to defund the place. What I heard them say was we need to lean in and maybe we need more funding.
Absolutely.
Let's take training to the next level. And never heard that I heard it on national radio,
That's right.
TV, social media, but never in Gwinnett County at any
Yeah, I will
corner
tell
of
you, it was
Gwinnett.
very, very difficult for us. 2020 to 2021, we lost a lot of officers who left law enforcement for the various reasons that we're talking about. But we kept talking to our team, and we kept, I remember when the chairwoman, Nicole Hendrickson, came into office, I told our staff, Nicole grew up in Gwinnett County government. Politics aside, she's going to do what's right by Gwinnett. And so I look at us now and where we were on the heels of losing so many officers that we looked in the eye and told those employees who stayed with us, things are going to be fine. And they really have. Again, our staffing numbers right now, we have roughly 805 officers. That's the highest number at any time in our history. I mean, when you think back to 2020, 2021, we were down about between 650 and 670 officers, right?
Okay.
So you see how much we've grown over the last several years, and that's because Gwinnett County is a very stable government. It's because we have, in my opinion, the best trained officers in the Southeast. Our facilities are
Maybe
second
America.
to none. Absolutely.
Chief, maybe America,
Absolutely.
right? Maybe the world?
I mean, I'd go that far.
Okay.
I mean, we are exceptionally well trained. Our facilities, the support we get with pay and benefits are as good as I've ever seen them in my career. So our retention levels are improving. And I really think if we stay on this trajectory within the next several years, we'll fill all our vacancies.
What can the business community do for you, the department? How can we be supportive? Just tell me what can we do? Right. A lot of the audience are business owners, business leaders, work in private sector business, and so that's your audience.
So
right
great question, and I think there's several things that I would say. Number one, please continue to support the police department. When we go back to 2020 and 2021 and all the things that were happening across this country, what I'm very, very proud of is that during the protests, right, and we had hundreds, if not thousands, of people come here and exercise their freedom of speech and freedom to gather. We made, I think, 6 arrests on the very first day that we saw a lot of this stuff break out. But from that point on, there were no arrests. There were no officers injured. There were no citizens injured. And we had 0 damage in property, right? That speaks a lot to our community, right?
Sure does.
It really does. So I always tell people that Gwinnett County is a very particular thing. As it relates to things that we would like our community to do, our business owners, one, again, we ask for your continued support. Look at ways to get involved with the police department. We have a Citizens Police Academy. We have a Youth Police Academy for young kids to come and hang out with us for a week during the summer. But also there's some other ways that you can help us fight crime. And one of those ways is by partnering us through an initiative called Gwinnett Safe Communities. So we have what is known as a real-time crime center, and we call it the Situational Awareness and Crime Response Center. And so in that center, we have hundreds of feeds, if not thousands of feeds, from cameras, license plate readers, and other technology that really helps to inform our response, right? So we can get officers quicker to a scene with more intelligence, being more informed, and it allows us to solve crime. There's 2 different ways that folks can assist us here. We have what we call an integrated camera system. So let's say a gas station on Lawrenceville Highway has several cameras that they wish to ultimately share with the police department. Then they can integrate into our system. So if a crime happens at that location or in the vicinity, we can immediately begin to work those cameras. Then they can also just register their cameras with us. So what that means is anytime that a crime happens in a particular area, we can go back and contact that owner and ask for permission in those instances to share. But the more technology that we have, the more data that we have, I'm telling you, we're going to continue to solve crime. So that's another way they can help. And then lastly, I would also mention the Gwinnett Police Foundation, right? So we have a nonprofit organization that supports the police department by partnering with the community to raise funds to help officers or 911 staff or professional staff in need. They provide scholarships for the relatives of these law enforcement officers. And then I think Governor Kemp has enacted a law that allows folks to, there's tax implications in terms of write-offs and things of that nature for that charitable donation.
Oh,
so,
fantastic.
Yeah, those are some of the ways that I would suggest partnering with us. And then lastly, let me mention our community affairs unit. So we have a group of officers who their goal is really connecting with the community and first and foremost crime prevention efforts. So if you need someone to come out and conduct a security survey of your business, we will do that for free.
Okay.
And then we put on various classes from violence reduction in the workplace to the women's self-defense classes known as RAD. So get to know our police department, go online and visit GwinnettCounty.com and kind of check out some of the things that we have to offer.
Well, Chief, the one thing I'm crystal clear about is you have over 800 officers, the largest county police department in Georgia.
That's correct.
Incredible. Gwinnett's number one in so many things.
Absolutely.
And so, but you're not done. You're still hiring talented individuals. Tell us what's your strategy and what do you need?
That's right. So we are actively hiring for many, many positions, and that's the message I'd like to get out to the community, the business community in particular. If you know people who are interested in careers in law enforcement, please have them take a look at us. I feel that, and maybe I am biased, but I feel like we're the premier police department in this state. We are looking for good people. And so we have positions available for police officer, for 911 communications officers. There's administrative positions that are available, everything from facilities, maintenance to crime scene, you name it. So please take a look at us. I think you'll be pleased with what we have to offer.
Chief, is there a Gwinnett CIS?
In terms of?
Crime scene investigations. Did I say the wrong thing?
No, you're right.
CSI. Oh, I said the wrong thing.
Well, and some people will use CIS.
Okay.
So we have
some people that don't know what they're talking about, like me.
So we do have a large crime scene unit, and those folks are just phenomenal. Again, one thing that we know about reducing crime is that it's a collaborative effort and it takes a team, right? And so those folks work exceptionally hard. That's probably the most popular job in the police department.
Okay.
Because when we're out looking for police officers, we're beating the path, and then when we open up for a crime scene, the line is around the block.
Really? Okay.
So very
it's very popular.
Position. It is. It is. But they do phenomenal work. I'm just amazed every time I go down and talk with those folks.
Thank you for all that you do. We appreciate it, and we'll call it a wrap.
Awesome. Thank you all for having me.